old school.
Going to be stolen, I think, by the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Ray rocked the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
Stolen by Bird and the cut to DJ. Yes!
Buckle up for Kobe Bryant.
New era.
Oh! A jawbreaker!
Curry, way downtown. Bang!
It's all basketball.
A spectacular move by Michael Jordan.
Lace them up. It's time for 1010XL's Open Gym. Leading the break, here's RJ Saunders.
We continue to fill in for the vacationing Rick Ballou during Hackers time slot. It's another edition of Open Gym. RJ Saunders here with you. Dylan Denmark also joining me in the studio. And we thank you so much for giving us a couple moments of your time as we have another great show lined up for you today. And as always, we love your input. 641-1010, that's the number to the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Or you can hit us up on one of our multiple digital studio platforms on Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook. 44-31 is your score right now between the Indiana Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland trying to extend this series after losing in Game 4 to the Indiana Pacers. And I kind of want to start off here with this because it's still been a few hours since we had the NBA draft lottery results. And to be honest with you, I'm still seething over it because it just felt as if the NBA was really trying to do the Dallas Mavericks a favor since they traded their 25, 26-year-old supernova to the Los Angeles Lakers. And with no young superstar in Dallas and probably no hope of any monumental star coming to Dallas anytime soon. I mean, hey, they've tried for years to bring talent to the Dallas Mavericks, have failed to on multiple occasions. That's why guys such as Dirk Nowitzki and Luka Doncic were held so close to the hearts of those fans due to the fact that they were drafted and they wanted to stay. In my opinion, because you traded a guy like Luka and you have no stars coming in the foreseeable future, the NBA, the word everyone's using is rigged, so I'll use the term, rigged the NBA draft to do a solid to the Dallas Mavericks. And just for me, being a basketball fan, I've just seen this one too many times throughout NBA history in the last decade and a half to where I can't say that there isn't just a tad bit of fixing, right? But for me, this isn't about the number one pick. This isn't about the NBA. Hell, this isn't even about Cooper Flagg to me. We always practice things to get better and better at it. Now, there's some of us who are just gifted at certain things, and the first time you try it, you're great at it. I want to know from the NFL fans, do you think the NFL could perfect a draft lottery? Would you want the NFL to go the draft lottery method? Every other major sports entity that we have here in America does it. The NHL, the MLB, the NBA. The NFL is the only place where they don't have a draft lottery. But if you think about it, the NFL is a place where I think they like to promote three things. Number one, competition. 2, excitement. 3, revenue. Because that's what makes the world go round, that money for them, right? And you can argue that the current version of how teams in the NFL are able to make their selections, if you have the worst record and you get the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft, it doesn't really move the needle for NFL fans. It almost seems as if it's a consolation prize for the worst team in the NFL. We're going to give you the best player in this year's coming NFL draft. You get to choose the guy who you feel is the best, or you get to draft your biggest need. So if Tennessee gets the first pick To a team such as the Kansas City Chiefs, son, you can go get your quarterback. You can draft that offensive lineman. You can draft a wide receiver. We're still good with the guy by the name of Patrick Mahomes, at least for the next 7 to 10 years. We're probably still going to be in the mix to win Super Bowls down the line. But if you could take all the NFL teams that don't make the playoffs, put them in a room, and let's say you televise this during the conference championship game. Or if you want to do this a week before the Super Bowl, you want to do this the same weekend as the Pro Bowl. Because, I mean, Lord knows who's watching that anyway, right? And every team that did not make the NFL playoffs gets one ping pong ball. Because I still don't understand, for the life of me, if you have a worse record than other teams in the NBA, you're supposed to get more ping pong balls. But it seems the teams that get the most ping pong balls are not winning the NBA draft. So let's make it more simple. Everyone gets one ping pong ball. There is no going into the back room. Everyone hide your phone so nothing leaks out. No. Come out in the center of the stage. We roll the ping pong balls. One pops out. And we go down from 18-1. I do believe that that is something that the NFL would make loads of money off of. I do also think that this would be interesting to the NFL fan. Now, everyone gets a fair chance. Everybody gets a fair shot. It's not, well, if we would have won just a couple of more games, we probably would have been picking second instead of picking fifth. And I do believe that you probably take out the intention of tanking. And we've seen a lot of teams in the NFL tank over the course of history, right? Where they'll tank to get a better pick. Even if that means they're one game away from going to the NFL playoffs, they may say, you know what? To keep our draft pick, to have a better pick, you know, maybe the playoffs doesn't mean that much to us because we're not a good team anyway. And, you know, we're going to get defeated in the wild card or we'll be a first round out. We really don't want that. So we'll put more focus into the pick. And that's really the downside to all of this, because now with some NFL teams, you'll have to figure out what's more important. Is it that you are saying we want the opportunity to be in the tournament to win a championship, or we just want to continue collecting assets and collecting talent? And let's say you go the Oklahoma City route in the NFL. You build through the draft. Because the draft is already a place, and the NFL is already a place where teams are not supposed to be that bad for that long. The NBA, however, it really seems to me they haven't made that the primary focus. And I think that's why everyone's saying that this past NBA draft lottery was that of rigged. Because you look at a team like the Charlotte Hornets, you look at a team like the Utah Jazz, teams that need talent, teams that haven't been relevant for quite a long time. You're not helping them out in any way. But it almost feels like you're helping a team out such as Dallas. You're helping a team such as the San Antonio Spurs, who are probably not going to be making the number 2 overall selection. For my money, I think they're going to give that to the Milwaukee Bucks. San Antonio gets Giannis. Off they go. And for some odd reason, you also decide that you want to help the Philadelphia 76ers and give them the 3rd pick. So they're going to have a good player, on top of the fact that you have Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid. But when you look at a team such as OKC, they know how to scout. Right? So no matter where they pick, they're able to identify the right talent, the talent in which they need. In the NFL, if they were to do this draft lottery, I think they could pull it off to perfection because they've seen the mistakes every other league has made. So now they could make something to where people would be interested in it. Like many are interested in the NFL draft. I mean, heck, there are some of us out there that watch from beginning to end, from day 1 to day 3. We are glued to the TV with the NFL draft. I think for a 30-minute show to see who's going to pick number 1 overall in the draft, maybe there's some interest there. Now, I could understand that it does feel weird with me saying this because, well, this has never been done before in the NFL. And why would we change it? And I can hear a lot of us Jaguar fans. Why would you change it? If there was an NFL draft lottery, we probably would have missed out on the number 1 overall pick, which ultimately became Trevor Lawrence. But I'm not trying to look in the past. I'm just saying for the future. And because of what we saw and because of the uprising, and due to the fact that the NFL, with their current system, there doesn't seem to be any sort of excitement except for the team that's picking number 1. Once we get closer to the draft and you start hearing the news that there may be a trade, there's a team that's saying they're open to moving out of the number 2 or number 3 spot. That still can happen if the NFL had a draft lottery. So that's not taking anything away from it. But would it interest you at all? Or do you like the current system that's in place right now and think that there's no problem? Because you could honestly care less who has the number 1 overall pick, unless it's your team. Let me know. 641-1010. When we come back, I mean, you know, the NFL season's going to be here before we know it, right? Who's hot? Who's not? Who's proving their worth? Are the Jacksonville Jaguars a team that many are saying are going to be in contention getting back into the playoffs after not making it last year? We'll discuss that with Mark Ross of NFL Network next. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Take the straightaway at 200 miles an hour.
He's got him. Oh, they're ready to go.
It's NASCAR's All-Star Race at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Sunday night, NASCAR is tuned up by Maxie's Mechanics on Jacksonville's NASCAR station 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
Come in, Linda. Over.
We've got a sea of new vehicles and they're priced so low they're rocking the boat. Come check out our biggest selection of inventory with prices that don't break the bank and our wow-ya experience that will ensure smooth sailing for your next car purchase. Plus, take advantage of our peace of mind warranties, transparent pricing to provide you with a peace of mind. You better beat the surge and head to the all-new Beaver Toyota or Chevrolet for the car buying experience you deserve.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
If you'd like to help support domestic violence victims, you can get involved in the Par for a Purpose golf tournament, hosted by Micah's Place at the Golf Club of Amelia Island on June 20th. Register and learn more at micahsplace.org/golf.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
If you're a dog lover who wants to help animals, our furry friends need exercise and time out of their kennels. You can make a difference in a dog's life at volunteer@jaxhumane.org.
Military veterans have always protected us. And in Jacksonville, thousands of our veterans suffer from mental wounds like PTSD. Now it's time to return the favor. Learn how you can help at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
All right, fellas, I got to brag a little. I'm down 40 pounds thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss and keeping it off.
That's cute, Matt.
I'm down 110 pounds. That's like losing a Backstreet Boy.
Okay, so I'm the rookie here. I just started, but I'm already down 13 pounds, and let me tell you, it feels good to see the results already.
That's the thing, man. Awaken 180 works. No shots, no meds, no gimmicks. Just real food, real support, and real results.
The support team is a game changer because we all know it's so easy to get distracted. But with Awaken 180, you get your own coach and a plan that works with your lifestyle.
And free support for life.
Plus, no gym workouts required, which is great because let's be honest, I wasn't running wind sprints either.
25, 40, even 110 pounds. If we all can do it, so can you. Call 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com.
That's 844-346-1800 or awaken180weightloss.com.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y summer camps, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
We know who they play, and now we'll finally find out when. Join 1010XL all day Thursday for the big reveal. Open by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors and Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Hey, Hicken here. Tired of glasses or contacts? Discover customized vision solutions at Bowden Eye & Associates. Dr. Bowden's team offers cutting-edge options like EVO implantable Collamer lenses or refractive lens exchange and classic LASIK, designed to fit your life. Picture perfect vision for reading, driving, or just enjoying the day. It's easier than you think. Call now for your free screening. Bowden Eye & Associates, they're keeping the First Coast focused.
John Haney here for Clearwater. And I know I'm always joking around, but this is a serious time for our coach and our team. So if you need a sprinkler system, a French drain, or seamless gutters, and you live in Duval County, then give us a call today.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers. And drainage too.
Duval.
ClearwaterJacks.com.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Our next guest is an NFL analyst for the NFL Network. He spent a long time in the NFL as far as the front office went as well, spending from New York to Buffalo, also some time in Philadelphia. He is Mark Ross, and he is so gracious to give us a couple moments of his time from the NFL Network. Mark, how are you?
Excellent. How you doing there, RJ?
Good. And thank you again for giving us a couple moments of your time. We really appreciate it here in Jacksonville. So, I mean, the hot topic right now is the NBA draft lottery results. And, you know, individuals like me are up in arms because as a Lakers fan, I feel like Nico Harrison and the Dallas Mavericks got the biggest bailout of all time, and they're going to get Cooper Flagg here in a couple of weeks. But I asked at the top of the show, and I just wanted to get your opinion. Do you think that the NFL would be able to perfect a draft lottery? And do you think it's even something that would be needed in the NFL if they, you know, were to pitch the idea that, hey, this is something that we're thinking about? Would you guys like it?
Look, as far as the execution, actually doing it, I don't think we'll ever see that. I think we'll just see the pure order of, okay, the worst team's going to be picked first and so on. Just because in the NFL, I know towards the end of seasons when teams aren't doing well, we always get the tanking situation. But it's not basketball. Look, right. When you play football, every single time a guy goes out on the football field, every single play could be your last play. So nobody's going out there and playing 50%, 20%, or whatever percent there is. And I've never been a part of an organization, and I've been on a couple 3-13 teams where anybody was talking about tanking. You know, there's just so many levels from ownership to the general manager to the coaches trying to save their jobs of, man, we're not going out there to try to lose. Nobody's thinking about that. Who cares about the team next year or 2 years from now? I'm trying to save my job now. So we'll never see that in the NFL just because of the mindset of NFL players and NFL coaches and executives is just so different than anything else because it is so precious every moment in the league.
Absolutely. It was just a thought in which I had because, you know, I feel like the NFL tries to do as much as they can to be able to perfect some things, you know, whether it's, you know, having extra NFL games or maybe even, you know, with the playoffs and the structure that they have there. So maybe they would be able to show the rest of the major sports entities how it's done if they had a draft.
Now, RJ, I will say if they televised it, if we did just do something in that aspect, it would blow the ratings out of the roof now. And it would be, even though we already know the order of the draft, they could do an unveiling of do a show just about who's the first pick and second pick and third pick, and people would still watch it more so than they'd watch the NBA draft. So as far as the actual execution, no, but as far as the production of it, the NFL would absolutely crush a format like we saw last night.
Absolutely, without question. Mark Ross, our guest of the NFL Network. He is their analyst there, joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. So you've been a part of many solid front offices during your time in the NFL. I just wanted to know from you, what did you think of the job James Gladstone did just in free agency and in the draft, now with this being his first year being the head guy of an organization? I know we haven't seen the talent on the field yet, but just in terms of what he was able to do on paper, just how did he fare in your opinion?
Yeah, I don't think, there was really in free agency, you looked at any of those signings and said they're really going to move the needle for the team or really say any of these players are going to make a huge difference, mostly a bunch of solid guys, backup type of players. And then, I was on another with your station a few weeks ago at a different time, and with the Travis Hunter the trade, that's big for a first time GM, and I know it's easy to just keep saying do what they did in the Rams, but it's a completely different situation where Les Snead with the Rams. And Sean McVay, the head coach, they had time. They were there. They'd been established. They had been trusted by the ownership, and had a chance to really show what they can do. Where your first time out to make that huge of a trade and give up those assets for a team that's really trying to find itself still, and is in such flux just because you don't know what they're going to be next year, and you still don't know what your supposed franchise quarterback is in Trevor Lawrence. To make that move for Travis Hunter. And you're really just betting on, hey, you go do something that no one in football has ever done before, and you have to do it at a high level on both sides of the ball to really make that trade worthwhile for the number 2 pick in the draft where there hasn't been a receiver. It's been number 2 since Calvin Johnson.
Right.
And Travis Hunter is no Calvin Johnson, and there has never been a number 2 corner. Go play up to that standard, too. To me, it was just a lot to give up to say, hey, go do something that no one's ever done. And not only no one done before, but to do it at a level that has to be really Pro Bowl caliber on both sides.
Absolutely. And when it comes to Travis Hunter, because I did want to expound on him just a lot more with him being now looked at as one of the franchise cornerstones. I mean, he wants to play both sides, and I understand that there are those in the building that do say, listen, we're going to figure it out. We're going to have him play both sides of the football. But in your opinion, what should the ratio be? Because I feel that he's going to be heavily needed on the offensive side of the ball for Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence for them to be successful on that side. However, there are some tremendous things he's able to do on the other side of the football as well. So everything has to be in moderation when it comes to Travis Hunter, because this is now NFL football. But how would you create that ratio between offense and defense if they were asking for your opinion of how to go about using Travis Hunter?
Yeah, well, so when I first started watching Travis Hunter, I thought he was a better receiver than a corner. I thought that he could just have more of an impact. And that's just the nature of the position where, you know, Pat Surtain, you could watch a Denver game. He was the defensive player of the year, and you don't even notice him. Right. And that's a good thing. But a receiver can change a game on one play. And you notice a Jamar Chase every week. Right. You notice a CeeDee Lamb every game. You know, with those guys, you get the ball in their hands, they could change the game any second, whereas a corner could go through, you know, a game or two or three or four, and you don't even know they're on the field. So I had always thought Travis would have been a more impactful football player as an offensive player.
Right.
And now if he is able to pull this off, it would be, okay, play as a receiver, and then you go spot play at corner on third down situations, you know, goal line situations like that, because there's just more learning to learn in offensive playbook than there is a defensive playbook where just go stand out there and cover him. You know, you don't need a playbook where, you know, if you guys are playing certain teams, like just go cover him. So I think that's really where he'll maximize his talent. And getting back to Trevor Lawrence, it's all about maximizing Trevor Lawrence and seeing what you have in him. And the best way to do that is to have Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter on the field as much as possible to help him.
Continue our conversation with Mark Ross of the NFL Network right here on Open Gym. So I remember you coming on with Rick Ballou a few weeks ago, and you were talking about Trevor Lawrence and putting as much talent as you can around him, as you've been alluding to in this conversation that we're having. I know it's unfair to ask because, again, we haven't seen anything on the field as of yet, but on paper, with the addition of guys like Travis Hunter, De'Ami Brown, you bring in Bashal Tootin, you also have LaQuint Allen, who it seems like in the building they're probably pretty high on, and you're adding those guys with individuals such as Brenton Strange, Brian Thomas Jr., Parker Washington, Travis Etienne. Is it enough for you, in your opinion, where you're saying, okay, Trevor, they gave you a lot of talent here, now you have to go out and be great, or do you think he needs just a little bit more still?
Well, if you're still talking about a franchise quarterback that needs something more, then you don't have the right guy, because the great ones, they raise the level of everyone around them. And at this point, Trevor has to say, okay, guys, jump on my back, and I'm going to take you where we need to go, and not I need to have everything else to do it. You know, Bucky Brooks, a coworker there at the NFL Network, he talks about being a tractor or a trailer, where a tractor pulls everything. Right. A trailer is getting pulled by the tractor. And what is Trevor Lawrence at this point? You can't keep saying, hey, Trevor, be the trailer. At some point, you have to say, Trevor Lawrence, you got to be the tractor. And there's only so much you can just keep putting around him until you run out of places to put people and talent to put around him before you just have to say, well, look, these inconsistencies are what he is, and these up and down moments are what he is. And there's plays, there's things that happen in a game with a quarterback that is independent on that anybody that's around them. And those are the issues with Trevor Lawrence, when a clean pocket and open receivers and you throw a ball into the stands, you know, a clean pocket and an open receiver that's in the dirt. That has nothing to do with anybody that's around him. And he just has to work out those consistencies. But at this point, the bigger picture, yes, he has to do it with this talent that he has, because there's only so many years you can just keep pushing it down the line and say, well, if only he has this, he'll be good.
Now, going into this year, because I agree with a lot of what you said when it comes to that of Trevor Lawrence, what are your expectations for Trevor this season, whether it's numbers-wise or just play on the field?
Well, I don't want to say this for Jacksonville fans, but I really think it'll be more of the same. I think there's a certain point where players just are what they are, and you either just have to live with that, or you have to have everything just go 1,000% right in order for that to work out right. Quarterbacks like him, really that are up and down, other parts of it's not even the offense, it's the defense that really has to really shut everybody down for an inconsistent quarterback to say, okay, well, here's the moments that he's great. And that's what happened with us with the Giants in our 2 Super Bowl runs, where, look, Eli Manning, in retrospect, everybody, all you hear is 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback Eli Manning, and that's what he always will be remembered by. Right. But during those Super Bowl runs, during those years, he was wildly inconsistent and up and down, and there was a lot of angst and a lot of bad games. But in the playoffs, our defense really just shut everybody down, and we saw the best of Eli where he cut out the mistakes and he played consistently, and that's what took place. Now, if our defense didn't do that, we might not have seen that version. So for Trevor, and I don't know if the Jaguars' defense is built this way at this point, but it'll really have to be, unless he's super consistent and takes a huge step that I just don't know if he has, the defense really has to take the onus to say, okay, we're going to be a top 5 defense in the league if our offense is inconsistent, and then we can possibly see the best version of our team.
Absolutely. We're here in Jacksonville pulling for Trevor Lawrence. I understand it's a split down the middle a lot, where I do feel one half believes that he is going to be that quarterback that, he's had his time in terms of, learning and continuing to develop. Now we have to see it on the field. And there are others out there that believe that, listen, we've seen it and it's just not enough. So this year is absolutely critical for one Trevor Lawrence as we continue our conversation with Mark Ross of the NFL Network. So just want to ask a couple questions just around the league for you before we let you go, because, you look at the Cleveland Browns quarterback room, and honestly, I feel like it's a really winnable job. I don't know who's the front runner in that room as of yet, but I know the conversational piece is always going to be that of Shedeur Sanders, and he feels that he has the tools to become a starting quarterback week 1 for this team. So for you personally, how did you kind of evaluate him or look at him, going into the NFL draft, and what chance are you giving him to become the starter of the Cleveland Browns in week 1?
Yeah, I saw Shedeur much like the NFL saw Shedeur. We created a media monster out of Shedeur just because of the name and all the fascination that had him much, much higher than what his talent led it to be. But the NFL really showed what his talent was and getting taken in the 5th round. And, the off the field concerns were definitely real. So that's, if you're an NFL team and you're saying, well, we don't really want to deal with this, and we've got other players who we have similar value we can take over him, then you're going to go that way. That being said, everything that's happened with Shedeur Sanders and all the ups and downs and talking points and all of that, he's sitting there looking at a 40-year-old Joe Flacco who's, retired 2 or 3 times, Kenny Pickett, who's already on his 3rd team, Dylan Gabriel, who got drafted the same year as him, but he should be saying, okay, essentially, I'm going to beat out Dylan Gabriel and those 2 guys. Then if he can't do that, then he got drafted exactly where he needed to be drafted. And at this point, he really just has to go into it and strip away everything else, all the outside noise, make the main thing, go out there and play and perform on the field and let that determine where he will be. And if he is that guy, if he is who he thinks he is, then he'll win that job. And if he isn't, then, that 5th round pick was pretty solid for the Browns.
Final one for you before we let you go. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to be coming into this season as the defending champs. Is it their championship to lose again this upcoming season, or do you feel there are a few teams out there that are going to be standing in the way and having something to say about that?
Yeah, it's so hard to repeat. Everything has to go right. Obviously, the history shows it. With a couple exceptions there, the Chiefs, the Patriots, but everything has to go right for the Eagles. Now, they are built to be in the mix. They will 100% be in the mix unless something catastrophic happens with Jalen Hurts, or Saquon. But I'm looking at them. The Commanders right there in the division, who were in the NFC Championship game, and who I think have only gotten better with Tunsil and Debo, and another year of Jaden Daniels. Buffalo will be in the mix. Of course, Baltimore will be in the mix. Detroit, Cincinnati, if they can get any sort of defense going, they can compete with anybody. Green Bay, Houston trying to take another step. We can never forget the Chiefs. So, they'll be in the mix. So, I think that group of teams right there, even the Rams, a team like the Rams who gave Philly all they could handle in the playoff game in the snow. Right. So there'll be a good mix of teams. If I was to say, hey, will the Eagles do it? It's so because of the history
Right.
of so few teams being able to do it, I'd say no, but they will be 100% in the mix.
It's definitely going to be an exciting NFL season. And I mean, we're going to blink 2 times and it's going to be here before we know it. Also have the schedule coming out tomorrow. So definitely an exciting time in the world of the NFL. And so glad to have been able to talk about it with Mark Ross of the NFL Network. Mr. Ross, thanks so much again. And hopefully we can do this again sometime down the road.
For sure. Anytime, RJ. My pleasure.
There he goes. Mark Ross of the NFL Network. Interesting quotes on one Trevor Lawrence. So where's the consistency going to come from? This year is critical. I mean, every time I've sat over here and filled in for Rick Ballou, which has now been twice, I've talked about and tried to ask every guest just how critical of a year is this. And we heard guys like J.P. Shadrick say, listen, he still needs time. Really hasn't been given a fair shake. This is what, now his third offense that he has to learn. We heard from Dabo Sweeney at the ACC Media Days with XL Primetime that, listen, Trevor Lawrence can't do all of this by himself. You have a guy like Mark Ross that's saying, listen, we may have seen what we needed to see from Trevor Lawrence. And he's going to be, probably in the teens as a quarterback where you rank him, probably not crack the top 10, maybe not. Certainly going to be interesting to see because we do want a winner here in Jacksonville. And a lot of people in that building believe that Trevor Lawrence is going to be the guy. And listen, they paid him, so he's going to be the guy here for a while. Let's just hope that that's able to show itself on the field, especially this coming season. When we come back, could the New York Knicks be the team of destiny this year and win the NBA title? Let's discuss that with Lee Ellis, who's been covering the entire series between the Knicks and the Celtics right here on Open Gym.
Like to learn how to fly an airplane? Well, you're not alone. High Flying Jacko here, inviting you to listen Sunday morning. We'll start your aviation career with a 60-minute ride on the airwaves of 1010XL. The High Flying Show, Sunday at 9 on 1010XL.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I don't see how a new air conditioner is going to work out for me.
Well, you like air conditioning, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. But a new air conditioner could be expensive.
Well, not if you...
I mean, to save up the money, I probably have to give up my extra hot skim latte every morning. Now I fall asleep during a staff meeting, get volunteered for the summer picnic committee, and end up sitting in the dunk tank all afternoon getting water up my nose.
Okay, look at it this way. Put on these sunglasses.
Whoa.
Bueller Air and Plumbing puts in a new AC. We hook you up with affordable financing, and you stay cool and comfortable for just $149 a month. Cool?
Cool. I see it now.
Life can be hard on your budget. If you suffer through the heat because of a broken AC you could totally afford to replace, you could visit.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Swing into the hottest party of the summer. Join First Tee North Florida at the Yards on June 12th for the Summer Soiree Baja Beach Bash. We're bringing the vibrant spirit of Cabo San Lucas to the First Coast for an evening of family-friendly fun. Enjoy live music, craft cocktails, golf games, raffle prizes, and delicious Mexican-inspired cuisine from Taco Lu. Golf, fiesta, and philanthropy, all to support the impactful programs of the First Tee. Visit firstteenorthflorida.org/summer soiree to secure your tickets today.
Fish know where to hide. Captain Kevin knows how to find them.
That's a big one.
Listen for the Wing Power Fishing Forecast Show, brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Royal Pest Services.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
It's the perfect day. You're just driving along, listening to your favorite music. The window's down. There's a cool breeze. Life is good. But wait, hold on a second. You're not wearing a seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Hacker here, taking you back exactly 1 year this week. I was only 9 weeks into Awaken 180, and it already dropped 54 pounds. Seriously, that's like shedding a first grader in just over 2 months. That's wild, right? Fast forward to today, 2 months into my maintenance, and I'm still down over 115 pounds. Not a pound put back on. It's like Awaken 180 gave my weight a permanent eviction notice. Now listen up. We all want to have goals, but sometimes they seem to be far-fetched. This one won't be. Dropping 40 pounds by the 4th with Awaken 180. It's doable when you have a proven program with an excellent coach by your side. Weekly weight loss, enjoying the ride, and reaching your goal. We all did it. No reason you can't. Set your goal, make the call, and reach 40 by the 4th with the solution for weight loss. Online at awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Get ready. Welcome to Rockville is gearing up to take over the Daytona International Speedway from May 15th to 18th with Green Day,
Sometimes I give myself
Korn, Shinedown, and Linkin Park. Plus Bad Omens, Incubus, Good Charlotte, Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, Pierce the Veil, Marilyn Manson, 3 Days Grace, Sublime, Hailstorm, I Prevail, Three Doors Down, Jimmy Eat World, Motionless in White, Bush, Chevelle, Mudvayne, and so many more. Welcome to Rockville. North America's largest rock festival is finally here. May 15th to the 18th in Daytona Beach. 5 stages, 4 days, and over 150 bands. Select passes on sale now at welcometorockville.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
8:45 left in the third quarter of Game 5 between the Indiana Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland currently holding a 63-56 lead. And our next guest is a world-traveling hooper, was part of one of the greatest basketball shows that I've ever watched. And probably you have, too, if you remember the starters on NBA TV. They turned into No Dunks Inc., now on The Athletic. He's been doing a phenomenal job with ESPN Australia as he's been covering the playoffs between the Knicks and the Boston Celtics. Mr. Lee Ellis joins us now here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Lee, it's always great talking to you, man. How are you?
Good, thanks, RJ. Yourself?
I'm doing well, and as always, it's great just getting a couple moments of your time and chopping it up about round ball. Always a pleasure. And for me, when I look at this Knicks series against the Boston Celtics, I mean, if you would have told me that the Knicks would have a commanding 3-1 lead, I don't know if I would have believed you just because of how Boston had handled the Knicks in the regular season. Why has the New York Knicks ball club had such a death grip on this series?
Well, it is tough to sort of still figure out. And even though they are 3-1 up and we heard the devastating news that Jayson Tatum's out for the remainder of the season, you know, it still doesn't feel like the Knicks are home by any means. You know, they go to Boston for Game 5 tomorrow night. If they take care of business, then they're into the conference finals. But I think what you're seeing is, you know, just a real resilience from the Knicks. And Tom Thibodeau is a coach who really preaches just hard work and never giving up on any play, on any possession in any quarter of any game. Right. And I think that's why the Knicks have been able to really grind out 3 wins. I mean, 2 very impressive games in Boston to start the series that were both won on the defensive end by Mikal Bridges. Then they got smoked at home. I think everyone was expecting a bit of an eruption and a response there from the Celtics in Game 3. And then last night in Madison Square Garden, I was there for that game. It was going down that same path of Game 3 where the Celtics really were in control. They were hitting the threes, Derek White and Tatum especially. And it sort of felt like, okay, the Celtics, whatever happened in those first two games, were about to get back on track and reclaim home court advantage. But instead, the Knicks turned it around with a very, very impressive fourth quarter, especially from Mikal Bridges, who was fantastic. Jalen Brunson in the second half, and particularly the third quarter was great. And this was by far the most convincing victory by the Knicks. They didn't just sort of get lucky with a couple of defensive stops and make, in a one-possession game. They actually really sort of, took the game away from the Celtics. And again, the Tatum injury had an impact, of course, but even to that point, the Knicks were leading when he left the game. So really, it's unusual. I think most people, myself included, tipped this to be a 5-game series, but nobody had the Knicks in 5. Everyone thought, this will probably be one of those gentleman sweeps by the Celtics. So it's quite fascinating to see right now that the first team to have a chance to close out this series is the New York Knicks.
Absolutely. And I don't want to look too far into it. However, I mean, just seeing the energy that Knicks fans have had both in Madison Square Garden and, I mean, hey, they've been traveling out to Boston to cheer on their Knicks as well. Could the New York Knicks be the team of destiny this year? I mean, listen, they're a great story. The city and the fan base, like I said, they've really gotten behind this team. You've had Ewing, Starks. I've seen Stephon Marbury at the games. Carmelo Anthony is sitting courtside. I mean, the team hasn't been to the finals since 1999, and that was a strike-shortened year. Do you think that they have enough, the way they're playing right now, to get back to the championship round?
Well, I mean, I really have to see what they do, honestly, even tomorrow night, because I think their top 6 players, and that's including Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench, I think that's not bad. But then it really does sort of fall away pretty quickly after that. Deuce McBride, fine, he can hit a 3. Campaign's not giving them anything. Precious Achiuwa's barely getting off the bench. So, Landry Shamet's another one who doesn't get any court time. So last season, what happened basically at this same stage, remember they were playing the Pacers. They were up 2-0. It went to 7 games and they lost at home. Brunson didn't play, and a few of their other guys just kind of ran out of gas. And that's my concern here with Tom Thibodeau is he put so much into the legs of his 5 or 6 players that it's not a great strategy for a long, deep playoff run. Instead, it tends to be good enough to get you past the first round, but it tends to show up in the second round that guys become either injured or fatigued so much that I just don't know if they've got another, 8 wins in or 9 wins in them at minimum here. So we'll see what happens because they have surprised me. I mean, they surprised me against the Pistons. They were really resilient on the road there.
Right.
And again, they've shown to be a very, very good team. They're unbeaten on the road, 5-0 so far in the playoffs. So they've proven it at this point. But again, I still, even though they're 3-1 up, they've got at least one more game here at Madison Square Garden coming up. But I just don't think this series is over. I expect a very firm response from the Celtics tomorrow night. They'll be emotionally charged as well for trying to do it for Tatum. So I think tomorrow night is going to be, a tough place for the Celtics, for the Knicks to win the series. I think Friday night, if they can take care of business then, that's their best shot of closing out this series. Because if they don't, that means they have to win in Boston on Game 7 on a Monday night. So it's tough. I mean, they probably deserve a little more respect than Knicks, but until they can really prove that they can beat the Celtics again, I'm still not convinced they are the best team in the East.
Continuing our conversation with Lee Ellis, doing an amazing job with ESPN Australia, joining us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So you spoke about it at the top. Jayson Tatum, the news came out that he ruptured his Achilles, and we wish him a speedy recovery. What does this mean for the future of the franchise, in your opinion, in terms of just how they move forward with a few of the players that they have currently on the roster?
Yeah, well, so they're facing a bit of a tax bill crunch anyway. Now, we know there was no way they were going to obviously trade Tatum or Brown going forward. Those two will be there for as long as they can keep them there. So the Celtics were facing that crunch this off-season anyway. Exactly how that changes now, I'm not sure. I think one of the things is with Kristaps Porzingis, he's also dealing with some sort of mystery illness right now. He hasn't been at his best. And I think the Celtics are probably, they'll probably sort of look to move on from him. They definitely need some reinforcements. I think Drew Holiday's been fantastic for them. He signed a new contract not too long ago, so he's likely to be there. But maybe someone like Al Horford, maybe this is his last season. Who knows? Another great vet, really reliable, really solid, but he's 38 years old. And so the Celtics probably are looking for, an upgrade there or a cheaper option at least anyway. But nothing will happen, of course, until their playoff run is over, and that may not be over tomorrow night. It may still be on for a couple of weeks here, and that's at the point when the Celtics, with their new ownership, will start to really consider exactly how they approach the off season, because no one really knows, and you just have to focus on the season they're in right now, and then you start considering what are the luxury tax penalties that they're facing, who's the players they have to sacrifice while still remaining competitive, because ultimately, you've got Tatum and Brown in their prime now. Now, Tatum is likely to miss a significant portion, if not all, of next season.
Right.
But the Celtics don't want to go through a rebuild either. So they're going to keep their two stars in Brown and Tatum, and then try to find, again, guys like they picked up Drew Holiday. Remember, basically they got gifted Drew Holiday because the Bucks gave him away. So that's how I think they'll proceed forward, looking for those vets who have been around, who can still contribute at both ends, while keeping the Celtics in the mix, because they certainly aren't headed for a rebuild.
Now, you have certainly been confident, and I'm confident in it too. The series isn't over until it's over. You have to win 4 games, and the Boston Celtics will have a chance to extend the series. I understand the ball is going to be in Jaylen Brown's hands a lot, as he is now going to be the unquestioned leader of this ball club. But, who needs to be that second guy to help him, with the offensive and defensive challenges that are going to come with trying to extend this series now that Jayson Tatum's going to miss the remainder of it?
Well, it's going to be a little bit by committee, but what we've seen is Peyton Pritchard, the sixth man of the year, he comes off the bench just firing away, and he was really, really good in Game 3. Right. He wasn't bad in Game 4, but not as impactful as he was in Game 3. And then on the defensive end, you got Drew Holiday, who to me is still an all-world defender. He's always has been. He still is now. He maybe not quite as quick as he once was, and maybe doesn't jump as high, but he knows how to defend. He's very hard to move off the block. And he's also another very reliable offensive player. He's not going to get you 30 points, but he can hit those open threes. He knows how to make really good passes, and he'll be effective like that. And again, I think there's going to be an emotional response here from the Celtics, because that's what happens when a leader goes down. That crowd tomorrow night is going to be so fired up, knowing their season's on the line, their leaders on the side. And so I think everybody is going to contribute. Derek White has been incredible in this series. Yes. He was fantastic last night against the Knicks, although Derek White didn't really do too much in the second half.
Right.
Tomorrow night, and for, again, as long as the Celtics in the playoffs, he's going to have to be more consistent throughout the course of the game. But certainly Jaylen Brown is now the one that they're going to look to be like, we need you to sort of lead the way here defensively and offensively. He was Finals MVP last season, so he certainly is up to the task. It's just now whether or not they do get enough contributors out of all those other guys to keep this series going.
Now, a few more for you before we let you go. And once again, thank you so much for giving us a couple moments of your time. But wanted to talk with you about the Great Barrier Thief, as the NBA's most improved player this year was that of Dyson Daniels. You did a great interview with him this season, and you two being fellow countrymen, both being from Australia, you've seen his growth for a very long time before he even got into the NBA, and we've seen what he did both in New Orleans and now with the Atlanta Hawks. Just, talk about his year this year with the Atlanta Hawks and him ultimately being named the most improved player, just what you enjoyed about that whole process this season.
Well, what I enjoyed most was seeing the work he put in outside of the game. I was at every practice here in Atlanta, and I saw him afterwards, before he would come over and talk to the media, working on his shot, working on his handle, working on his little mid-ranger, getting help and instruction from someone like Kyle Korver, who's one of the greatest shooters the game's ever seen, but also working, mentally and on his game defensively, understanding how impactful he can be and how he needed to be consistent. And so a lot of people, especially towards the end of the season, did sort of message me and say, hey, this Dyson Daniels guy's pretty good. And I said the same thing to all of them. I said, well, I'm not surprised by the results. based on what I've seen. The work that I've been able to see him put in. It's 1 + 1 = 2.
Right.
So you see a guy work so hard, take care of his body. He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, and really puts in the effort. Then the results tend to be there, and that's why I think you see from a lot of young players that surge in growth. You can tell who works in the gym and who doesn't. And some of the guys make it to the NBA on talent alone, and then their career sort of falters a little bit.
Right.
Whereas someone like Dyson, he knows he's talented and athletic, but he also needs to work a ton on still becoming a better shooter and a better scorer. He was great this season in a new situation and a new opportunity, but he's certainly far from the finished product as well. He knows that he needs to just stay in the gym, keep shooting, getting in those reps, putting up thousands and thousands of shots, for thousands and thousands of hours. And that's how you become then when he in 5 or 6 years' time, when he's into his sort of late 20s there, that's when you see the guy who's on a roster somewhere that is just a real lockdown shooter and a lockdown defender as well. And that's why I have every confidence that he will be in this league for a long time, because the work ethic and the attitude already that of a professional who's been in the league for like 10 years.
Now, I always have to apologize to you because I'm always annoying you all the time, but there was a reason why I was doing it. This past instance was because I had seen Kevin Garnett. He, does a great podcast, and they asked him who was his favorite international player that he ever played with. And he talked about a guy by the name of Shane Hill from Australia. And he talked about how he feared no one on the basketball court. He could shoot with the best of them. And if he needed to put them together, he could fight somebody at the drop of a hat. But, I mean, I wasn't around when Shane Hill was at his peak, playing basketball, whether that be with the Minnesota Timberwolves or with the Australian national team. So, educate me and educate us, the basketball fans here in Jacksonville, of just how good was Shane Hill and what has he meant to Australia in terms of the basketball presence they have there.
Yeah, he was tough as anything, Shane Hill, because he's only 5'10", so he's not a big physical dude. And he always had to punch above his weight to make it in professional leagues in Australia, and then in the NBA, and then later in his career in Europe. Right. And, if you go back, again, this was probably before your time, but in the 1992 Dream Team, it was a fascinating moment in the history of sport and basketball. Right. But what happened was, out on the court, some of the other players, some of the opponents were like looking at Charles Barkley and like, I just want to shake his hand, I want to meet him, I want his photo, all this stuff. So it was like they were playing fans rather than a competitive game.
Right.
But when Shane Hill played against Team USA, he was like, I'm trying to beat these guys. I don't care who they are. Yes, I looked up to them as well, and I love watching the NBA and seeing Charles Barkley and Shaq. But when we step on the court, we're enemies, we're opponents, we're going at it. And I think that's what really KG respected about Shane Hill. He was this small little white guy from Australia, but when he was on the court, he was as fierce a competitor as anybody else was. And look, Shane didn't last too long in the NBA for a couple of reasons. One of them was, it was tough to get minutes on that Timberwolves team.
Right.
But also, it's hard to crack it in the NBA at that time if you were not an American, because there were very few foreign-born players in the league. That's obviously changed significantly.
Yeah.
But when he was in the Timberwolves, it was 1996, nearly 30 years ago. So, those are the reasons I think that Kevin Garnett speaks so highly of Shane. He's tough. He fought. He gave everything he could. And that's what a lot of players in the NBA respect, is just those guys who leave it all out on the floor. Even if you're not going out there and getting 25 and 10 and playing 35 minutes a night, at practice, in the locker room, in the gym, on the plane, in the hotel, all those areas, if you're as competitive and you're locked in as focused as everybody else, that earns you respect. And that's why Kevin Garnett still, to this day, again, nearly 30 years ago, still speaks so highly of Shane Hill.
The final one for you as Lee Ellis joins us here on 1010XL. I mean, where are you going to be traveling? Next, when you have the opportunity to hoop again. You've had fascinating travels where you've been going all around the world hooping with everyone from different countries. Are you going to be planning to do that again this summer? And if so, have you had any plans as to where you're going to go?
Yeah, I will be after the playoffs, but probably later in the summer. I'll be in August sometime. I'll be heading to Hong Kong and Beijing to do some stuff out there. So, yeah, temporarily sort of putting the traveling stuff for that project on hold while I'm covering the playoffs.
Right.
But once the playoffs are over, take a little vacation with my family, and then back on the road to one of my favorite continents, Asia. And can't wait to get out there. It's a whole different world out there, man. But it's so much fun. I've been through the Philippines and Japan, and now I'm going to add a couple more destinations to this journey. So really excited for that. Both crazy fanatical basketball cities and countries, and hopefully I'll be able to bring those stories to life and tell some stories and share my experiences.
I implore you guys to follow Lee Ellis on X at Lee Ellis, because he does such an amazing job telling the story of basketball throughout the world, how it's played, how people interact with each other through the great game of basketball. And we always enjoy our time with Lee Ellis, who's doing a great job covering the NBA playoffs. Lee, as always, thank you so much, and hopefully we can do this again sometime down the road.
Anytime, RJ. Thanks for having me, man.
There he goes, Lee Ellis, the pride of Australia, and always gives us a great history lesson on the game of basketball and how it's grown in Australia. I mean, we have quite a few guys in the league that are Australian born. I mean, Patty Mills, Joe Ingles, Dyson Daniels, Josh Giddey. I mean, they're doing a great job out here. A lot of those guys are making a lot of their bones in the NBA now. And always great to get a history lesson about Shane Hill. I mean, if KG is giving you the rub and saying you were a great player back then, it certainly has to mean something. So was definitely glad to get a couple moments of Lee Ellis's time to learn more about the great Shane Hill. So when we come back, we'll continue talking about the NBA playoffs as the Indiana Pacers now enjoy a 12-point lead, about a minute to go in the third quarter, as Ty Jerome knocks down a 3-point shot, cutting the deficit, however, I should say, for the Cleveland Cavaliers to 9, 106 left in the third. So the moves the Miami Heat are possibly going to make this summer to get back in the mix out east. What does Pat Riley have up his sleeve? We'll talk about that next with the radio play-by-play voice and the TV host of the Miami Heat, Jason Jackson, next right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
If you missed it, get it on demand.
And you send those out on the line.
Find your 1010XL favorites where you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com. Channel 5. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Hey there, Jacksonville. With scorching temperatures just around the corner, it's crucial to ensure your AC is blowing nice and cool. Duck Duck Air Conditioning is here to keep you comfortable all summer long. But don't wait until the heat gets here. Our service techs are ready right now to handle any cooling issues you may have at your home or business. Call Duck Duck AC today at 904-862-6769 to schedule. That's 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Air Conditioning. Online at duckduckac.com.
Looking for a fun-filled evening the whole family can enjoy? Discover the thrill of indoor football. A fast-paced, action-packed sport where excitement meets family fun. Check out your hometown Sharks this Saturday, May 17th. Kickoff at 7. Ask about family 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 $10 food vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card. All for only $100. Get tickets at jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. 904-621-0700.
Prosser here, looking for a fun-filled evening that the whole family can enjoy. Our Jacksonville Sharks are back in town this Saturday. Discover the thrill of indoor football. Fast-paced, action-packed sport where excitement beats family fun. This Saturday, May 17th, kickoff 7 o'clock. Ask about our family 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 $10 food vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card. All for only $100. For ticketing, go to jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700.
Go Sharks! It's a magical phone line. Check this out. It brings you things you can't get anywhere else, like insider insight from sports experts. Listen for the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Check. Every day on 1010XL.
This is the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Enhance your home with Renewal by Anderson's superior craftsmanship and timeless design. Right now, buy 2 windows or patio doors and get the third at 60% off. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires May 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
David Lane here, and once again, I'm happy to share news of my success with back and knee surgeries at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Whatever it is that's bothering you, take it from me. Simply set an appointment today at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and let them help you get back to normal life. I'm certainly glad I did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Tucker Equipment Rental in Neptune Beach. You just don't rent quality machines, you rent quality customer service. Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Dave. Tucker Equipment Rental has been supplying Jacksonville with equipment and event rental for over 50 years.
From commercial and homeowner projects, we've got what you need: lifts, dirt equipment, and landscape equipment.
And don't forget about event rentals, from festivals to weddings to backyard barbecues.
Local, knowledgeable, and always ready to help.
Tucker Equipment Rentals.
You need it, we've got it, come see us.
Guys, want a golf course fairway quality lawn? TopDressing.com just landed in Jacksonville with the golf course secret for St. Augustine grass homeowners. A patented process that aerates and turns your turf into a fairway stunner. Serious golf course technology, but in your yard. Less water, tighter cuts, total neighborhood domination. No one else scores a perfect 10 lawn. Hit TopDressing.com now. You will own the block. Top dress your yard like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
What are the only 2 states that do not observe daylight saving time? The answer next.
Having the right homeowner's policy protection means you're staying on top of your most valuable possession, your home. For information on finding an agent, go to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The only 2 states that currently do not observe daylight saving time are Arizona and Hawaii.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Always a dream come true for me when I am able to speak to our next guest, because he is the TV host and the radio play-by-play voice for your Miami Heat. He was also the individual that did so many great interviews with the Miami Heat Big Three: LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, and he continues to do it for that organization. And if you are looking for a true hoop head, look no further than one Jason Jackson, so gracious to give us a few moments of his time to talk NBA playoffs. Jason, once again, man, how are you?
Outstanding. I'd rather be busy. I love being with you, but I'd rather be busy calling games in the conference semifinal. But, we'll find our way. We'll find our way. I'm sure you'll get to that with the Heat future. But
absolutely,
it right now is about these 8 teams either trying to hold on or advance. And as we talk right now, man, the Pacers have figured it out. Having watched Cleveland just mow through the first round, with my own eyes, right in front of me.
Right.
I've just been surprised, but I will say this, is that the one night that Cleveland was able to have some success, they were able to fuel it with second chance points.
Right.
And that's not a big Pacers team, but they've done a nice job in these games where they've been able to neutralize that firepower, that historical offense that Cleveland put together.
Now,
by keeping them off the boards and just making sure that those are looks that happen once.
Yes.
Not twice and 3 times.
Now, before we do get to the Miami Heat, I mean, listen, the story of the night last night was the fact that the Dallas Mavericks, got the number 1 overall pick. And, me as a Los Angeles Lakers fan, I mean, I'm up in arms about it because I wanted just the suffering to continue down there in Dallas. But the basketball gods are out there for one Nico Harrison and the fans in the Lone Star State. But just wanted to get your opinion on it all, being a huge NBA fan that you are. Just kind of what were your thoughts on the result of the NBA draft lottery?
It's a lottery. It's all chance. It's all luck. All the conspiracy thinking. It's just,
right.
Those are sour grapes. Even Heat fans thinking, if the Heat didn't make the play-in, that's the position they'd be in. And
right.
I have, RJ, just kind of a real, I think, healthy perspective.
Right.
I don't know what a kid who played 1 year of college basketball is going to do in their first year of the NBA.
Right.
I've watched a lot of one-and-doneers and a lot of high school-only guys in my 30-plus years in observation professionally of this league, and there's only a few that have moved the needle, man.
Yeah.
Only a few.
Yeah.
And now with the one-and-done guys, we don't know anything about them when they come in because we haven't learned anything because they played 9 months of college basketball.
Yeah.
They didn't play 9 months of college basketball. They were on a college campus for 9 months. Let's put that into perspective. And I hope that Flagg and Harper and Bailey and all these guys come into this league and are super successful.
Yes.
But I watched Kate Cunningham take 3-4 years. I watched Tyler Hero take 3-4 years. Bam Adebayo take a couple of years.
Right.
I've watched young players who are all-star caliber or already all-stars now without that 3 to 4 year run-up need a 3 to 4 year run-up because they don't have it in college. Listen, Kevin Garnett and LeBron James are unique in their ability to not even need a year of college to come in and create Hall of Fame careers. It's not something that happens every single day. So let me put it this way.
Okay.
I think this is the best way to relate to me and the draft lottery and the draft itself. It's like I had a 100-level first-year lecture on an intro to some sort of discipline that's not my major.
Right.
And I decided, you know what, I'm going to that lecture once a week. Not on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but I'll go on Wednesday.
Right.
And then you'll see me for the midterm and the final. And that's how I treat these things. If you're good enough, then I'll see you in the preseason. I'll see you during the regular season as it pertains to young players. Because I've gotten to the point now with college basketball, I don't invest. I can't. I won't. I got plenty to do during that same time frame.
Right.
And by the time we get to the tournament, I'll see who the little shiny stars are. And then I got the combine, I got the draft, I got summer league. By the time we get to the season, I'm ready to really deal with whoever's going to really impact things.
He is the radio play-by-play voice and the TV host of your Miami Heat, Jason Jackson, joining us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Let's get into the Miami Heat a little bit, and it feels like this was decades ago. But, could I get your thoughts on, the entire Jimmy Butler saga? Because to me, it just felt weird. I mean, I thought Jimmy was going to be a guy that was going to finish his career with Miami and the Heat organization, because it just felt like they spoke the same language. They both wanted to win, and they both take that competitiveness and that firepower, to a degree which most individuals probably in today's NBA doesn't. But unfortunately, it doesn't end the way that I would have loved for it to have, with Miami and Jimmy Butler having a marriage that would have lasted till the end of his career. But just what were your feelings on the entire saga with Jimmy Butler and the Heat?
It was strange. That's the best way I can put it. Usually these types of discussions, that level of discontent, that tends to occur in an off season in Heat history. It's happened. The Heat have not been exempt of guys wanting something or needing something and not getting it and moving on. In fact, it's happened for all but one of the retired jersey recipients in the building. Right. So some of the greatest players in history have had to deal with the organization saying, either we'll see, which is what that was, or no. And we'll find our way back to one another at another time.
Right.
Udonis Haslem was the only one that went wire to wire in that run of great Miami Heat players. So it happens, RJ. I think that's the number one thing you take from it. But for it to happen in season, for it to happen after what seemingly was an agreeable understanding of the message that came from Heat President Pat Riley last summer into the players' perspective of what was asked, which is just play more.
Right.
if we're gonna do that, then play more and play at your highest level, and we'll talk about it when we must talk about it.
Right.
And that didn't sit right. And in either direction, and then it got to a place where it was untenable. Suspension after suspension after suspension. Public start, kind of back channeling, trying to dismantle the legacy of one of the greatest contributors to this game and leaders of this game ever. It got to a point where it's the separation was what was needed, and it happened, and now both organizations can move on. And I wish it was what you thought, that this was a forever connection, but right now it's just a severed connection.
Now, if we are to know Pat Riley, and I know you know Pat Riley a lot better than I do, you being able to spend a lot more time with him and the Miami Heat organization, I do believe he's going to find a way to bounce back from all of this. It wasn't the year that he wanted, or the team as a whole, Eric Spoelstra as the coach, because as this organization, as you know, I mean, this is all about winning for them, and they have a lot of competitive guys in the front office and on the court as well. So do you think that this team kind of goes big game hunting this offseason, tries to go after a name such as Kevin Durant, maybe Giannis, and probably pull their names in the hat in that sweepstakes? Are there just a couple of small moves they feel that they have to make to get right back in the mix out east? How do you think Pat Riley and company plays this whole thing out?
I think it's a little early for tea leaves, Arch, because you have to get a real feel for what the tapestry is going to look like.
Okay.
And I think as you get closer to the draft, that stuff really starts to form. Because in this day and age, it's hard just to straight up make deals. You got to have picks, and you've got to have other dance partners. What I mean by that, third and fourth teams that are available. The restrictive nature of the collective bargaining agreement, I think, number one, encourages re-signing. I think you find more players now simply just extending with the teams that they've been with or that drafted them, because that's what's most conducive to the cap. And so it's going to be tough to see those deals that we saw in the early and mid-2000s because of just the restraints as it pertains to luxury tax and repeater tax and all the stuff that's not fun about being a fan.
Right.
And it also has a lot to do with where the Heat see their pieces.
Okay.
Right? Is Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Khalil Ware, and then, another series of young players. Is that how they want to go about it? And then add some veteran pieces around that.
Absolutely.
Or is there a real conversation about Giannis and or KD or other people?
Right.
That's stuff you cannot control.
Right.
So I think, kind of the asinine conversations that happen sometimes in the Heat sphere of, or you lost this player, these aren't like old school free agent entertaining dynamics. These are deals that other teams have to want to make with you versus another team that may have the things that they desire. So I look forward to getting beyond the playoffs and into the real draft. I know Combine is happening right now this week in Chicago, so a lot of the guys are getting measured, and some layer of understanding of the type of people they are, and interviews are happening. But once those selections are made and we're off to Vegas for Summer League, and at the same time the free agency opens up, that's the time where you really start to get a real feel for what direction an organization like Miami's headed.
Finishing up our conversation with Jayson Jackson. He is the radio play-by-play as well as TV host for your Miami Heat. I wanted to get this opinion from you because, I mean, you were around the big three a lot, especially when that whole thing came about between LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. Rich Paul had a very interesting thought process on the Miami Heat big three, felt that it wasn't really a big three in the context in which we put big threes. But, you know, listen, as I said, I'm speaking to a guy who was a part of that run in Miami with those three guys and James, Wade, and Bosh. What were they a big three in your opinion, and what was the city of Miami like? And I mean, heck, what were those road trips like when the Miami Heat were coming to town? Just what do you remember about those days when the big three were together, terrorizing the entire NBA?
Yeah, you get to decide when you win, right? Anybody
Right.
that's talking about it that wasn't a part of the Miami Heat over those 4 years, they have no standing in this court.
Right.
We're talking about Chris Bosh, Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Dwayne Wade, Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Eric Spoelstra, head coach, will be a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
LeBron James, first ballot Hall of Famer. Get out of here. Like, what are we even talking about?
Right.
Of course it was a big three, and of course it took some mitigation, and Chris had to subjugate his game probably the most, and Dwayne had to hand over the keys to an organization. LeBron had to accept it, even though he was coming into Dwayne's space, and once that was all kind of aligned, that was back-to-back championships with an opportunity to win a third.
Yeah.
After being humbled in 11th against Dallas. All credit to them. So trying to relive that or mitigate any of that is absurd and asinine and speaks from someone that doesn't understand the championship experience. I'm super excited about, someday celebrating those championships. This fall we'll be celebrating all season long the 20th anniversary of the 2006 championship.
Okay.
And so this is what you do when you really understand what it takes and have the right architect and executives and coaches and players in place, is that you get to, for decades, celebrate what it took to win.
He is Jayson Jackson, the Miami Heat radio play-by-play and TV host for the team. Also has a great show on SiriusXM on their NBA channel. Definitely encourage you to listen to that as well, giving us the latest with the Miami Heat and also taking us down memory lane when it comes to the Miami Heat and their organization. Thank you so much again, Mr. Jackson. And again, hopefully we're able to do this sometime down the road. And let's see what the Miami Heat are able to do this summer. Would love to break it down with you.
Whenever you call, I'll be here, brother.
Absolutely. There he goes, Jayson Jackson of the Miami Heat organization. More to do right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. This is Open Gym.
Big moment. Play-by-play is full of plot twists.
Did that just happen?
And high-octane drama.
And this game is tied.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I don't see how a new air conditioner is going to work out for me.
Well, you like air conditioning, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. But a new air conditioner could be expensive.
Well, not if you...
I mean, to save up the money, I probably have to give up my extra hot skim latte every morning. Now I fall asleep during a staff meeting, get volunteered for the summer picnic committee, and end up sitting in the dunk tank all afternoon getting water up my nose.
Okay, look at it this way. Put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Bueller Air and Plumbing puts in a new AC. We hook you up with affordable financing, and you stay cool and comfortable for just $149 a month. Cool?
Cool. I see it now.
Life can be hard on your budget. If you suffer through the heat because of a broken AC you could totally afford to replace, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
For a lot of us, saving up a down payment can be the biggest barrier to buying a home. So Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with ONE+. Because everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
I'm Max Fink, and I'm your Gator Updater. Listen for the Gator Report several times a week on 1010XL.
Freshened up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gator! Spring has sprung, and so have the bugs. It's Hayes Carline and my friends at Kingfish Pest Control offer an exclusive $99 spring special. That's right, your initial pest control service is just $99. And if you call today, they'll include a free one-time mosquito treatment. Kingfish Pest Control is family-owned, 5-star rated with no binding contracts and 100% satisfaction guarantee. Call them now to book your service. Only at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins. Fighting for your rights since 1975.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Lars Law is in effect in Cleveland. First one to 100 wins. It's the law. 103-97 your score. 4:23 left to go in regulation. Thank you to Jason Jackson, Lee Ellis, and Mark Ross for joining us on the program. Want to give you, for those of you who are just tuning in to the program, we started out at the top of the show talking about the NBA draft lottery, how many feel that it is rigged or has been fixed in favor of a few teams, but in this year's NBA draft lottery, it would be that of the Dallas Mavericks. So I asked the question to start out at the top, would an NFL draft lottery work in your opinion? I mean, if every team got one ping pong ball, the teams that did not make the playoffs, would that be something that you would sit down and tune in to watch? Now, listen, hey, I understand those of you who say absolutely not, because, listen, Frank Gore doesn't get that first down. We don't get Trevor Lawrence. I would have loved to have seen what this city would have been like if we would have known that Zach Wilson would have been the quarterback coming to Jacksonville and not Trevor Lawrence. And even with Trevor Lawrence coming to Jacks, there's still people that are fringe about him. They're still on the fence about him. But the only reason in which I'm bringing it up is because I just feel like the current state of the NFL in terms of their draft system is stale. You're the worst team in the NFL. You get the number 1 overall pick. Nobody really cares that much, right? So if you conceived this idea as the NFL and said we'll have an opportunity to perfect the draft lottery, do something that the other leagues probably have not been able to do well, we'll do it better than they can. And we'll also make a ton of money off of it because it's all going to be about revenue, right? As if the NFL needs any more money. I mean, they're playing games all across the world now. But Dylan, I mean, listen, I mean, you heard my feelings about it all. I mean, would that be something that you would be interested in? Are you fine with the current iteration of the NFL and the draft, just as how it is? Or would a draft lottery be something that you feel the NFL could do and bring eyes to the television when it's, downtime in the NFL?
No lottery.
No lottery.
Not even a question. I mean, you talked about, revenue and ratings. The Pro Bowl that you mentioned in your first segment that nobody watches, the Pro Bowl got just as many ratings on TV as the Zion Williamson lottery draft when they picked him in 2019.
Okay.
Which is about 4 or 5 million people. I mean, the reason it doesn't work is because you have so many teams in the NBA that tank and that purposely pull their starters and have, hamstring quote unquote injuries, and you don't have that in the NFL. The Patriots last year put in Joe Milton to back-up, and they won a game because he wanted to ball out, and now he got traded to Dallas because Dallas thinks he's a decent backup.
Right.
I'll go the following year after when Trevor was on the team, when the Colts came to town. The Colts were playing for a playoff spot. The Jags, all they needed to do was to lose to secure the number one spot. The Jags won. The Colts lost. And luckily, the Lions also won. So the Jags got the number one pick, and the Lions got the number 2 pick. It's just not. It's not. You're trying to compare apples to oranges, and it's not the same. The way the NFL is, I mean, they have the calendar planned out to where the Super Bowl's in February, then it leads to free agency, and you have the combine. I mean, you talk about conspiracy theories. Like the Utah Jazz have never gotten the number one pick in the draft,
right?
And fans here always talk about how the NFL never throws Jacksonville a bone and they don't care about Jacksonville. If you think that the NFL don't care about the Jags now and you add a lottery, the Jags ain't never going to get that number one pick.
It sounds a lot like the 536 here that agrees with you, saying absolutely not. Draft lottery is not needed. NFL already powerful. Won't really change anything revenue-wise. And then the parity will be lost because it's an art and skill to put together a 53-man roster. He finishes it off by saying, my Jags will be terrible forever. I do not believe that last part. I think they are going to figure it out. I do believe they feel they have the right regime this time around, although we did hear from a certain someone twice in a row that he felt that he got it right. Ultimately was wrong.
It's like real quick. How many people you think watched the draft this year? Just the first round.
The first round? Oh, God, I mean, listen, I feel like maybe, I'd say 100 million.
No. It's 13 million.
13 million.
13 million. Yeah, the 100 million only gets like the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And it was always around like 5, 6, about 15 years ago. And then when they started to put it in locations like Chicago and Vegas, that's when it started to pop off. And I mean, and think about it, this is a draft that wasn't sexy. Everybody's like, yeah, it's Cam Ward, and there's not many quarterbacks. It's a bunch of linemen.
Right.
And it's still got 13 million people.
You're hearing it here from Dylan Denmark. No to the NFL draft lottery. I say it would be something I'd look into. I'm not saying that I would do it, but I did think it would create great conversation. Now I am intrigued by what the 536 is saying that it is an art and a skill to put together a 53-man roster. And I brought it to guys like the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I don't think I ever saw them with the number one pick in the NBA draft. I think in my lifetime, I've seen them get as high as 2, and that's where they selected one, Kevin Durant. But they were able to find some guys, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. Those guys were not top 5 picks, but I do believe that they won in the lottery. And so you're able to find those hidden gems that are able to work with the talent that you already have constructed on the roster. And we've seen over the years now, OKC has been able to do this twice, where they're able to identify and recognize talent, put it together, and now look, they're the number one seed once again, have an opportunity to take the lead here in the series against the Denver Nuggets, and now they're trying to get to the NBA Finals. Could the Jaguars do that if they were a team that, let's say, you had a draft lottery, and let's just say, because I'm not saying that you can't still make trades. Let's just say that, the ping pong balls fell their way and you get the 3rd overall pick. Would the conversation still have been there with the Cleveland Browns to move up to number 2, because you would have been of the thought process that Cleveland, there would have been a legitimate shot for them to acquire one Travis Hunter? So I do understand the art form and the skill that it takes. Seems to me the way in which James Gladstone and Liam Cohen and Tony Baselli talk, they understand that. And they also want to show that they have the skills to build a championship roster. Right now they're saying they're raising the floor. Now it's time to work on the ceiling. When we come back, we'll wrap up the program. And I just have a quick take on LeBron James. He just came out with a post saying, year 22, it's been amazing. Thank you all so much. I think he's going to come back next season. Maybe this next season will be his last. But if he weren't to be on the Los Angeles Lakers next year, where would he go? Let's discuss next as we wrap up the program here on 1010XL.
So, what did Jeff Prosser do before 1010XL? Make your morning move with a drill on 1010XL.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
The PGA Championship is known for testing a golfer's all-around game.
It's a very difficult putt to read.
Hear updates and coverage of the PGA Championship, teed up by TopDressing.com and St. John's Middle School Athletic Association.
Looking for a fun-filled evening the whole family can enjoy? Discover the thrill of indoor football. A fast-paced, action-packed sport where excitement meets family fun. Check out your hometown Sharks this Saturday, May 17th. Kick-off at 7. Ask about family 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 $10 food vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card. All for only $100. Get tickets at jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. 904-621-0700.
Prosser here, looking for a fun-filled evening that the whole family can enjoy. Our Jacksonville Sharks are back in town this Saturday. Discover the thrill of indoor football. Fast-paced, action-packed sport where excitement beats family fun. This Saturday, May 17th, kickoff 7 o'clock. Ask about our family 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 $10 food vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card. All for only $100. For ticketing, go to jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. Go Sharks!
Get this. Joey and me were supposed to go to this concert next week, right? But then something terrible happened. Joey was driving without a seatbelt. But he didn't wreck. No, he got pulled over. Now Joey has to pay for a seatbelt ticket instead of a concert ticket, and I have to go by myself. How lame is that? So Joey, if you're out there, you're an idiot. Wear your seatbelt or you'll get a ticket.
All across the country, cops are cracking down. Click it or ticket, day and night.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
At IHRS, we're passionate about solving your hair loss. We're clients too. With the latest hair transplant technology, FDA-approved laser hair therapy, and PRP, we guarantee solutions for both men and women. Call now for a free consultation and receive $250 off. Hair restoration is for me, and it can be for you too. Go to hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
You can help Micah's Place support domestic violence victims by playing in the Par for a Purpose golf tournament June 20th at the stunning Golf Club of Amelia Island. Register at micahsplace.org/golf.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjax.org.
If you could benefit from a grief and loss support group, call Haven Hospice at 279-1677.
You have healing power. Even writing a letter or volunteering can help heal a veteran. Find out more at healvets.org.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
Okay, sports fans, Hicken here. Let's talk skin. I and Beaches Dermatology are reminding you all to wear your sunscreen. Spring is here, and that means more time outside. Grabbing the clubs for your tea time? Bring the screen. Heading out on the boat? Bring the screen. Headed to the beach? Definitely bring the sunscreen. All in all, make sure sunscreen is included in your outdoor activities. If you have any concerns now, give Beaches Dermatology a call. I've been seeing them for years, and my skin thanks me for it. Call today online at beachesdermatology.com.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph has been a legend on-road. They've branched out to their off-road division as well. Give us the latest on what you can find on the asphalt.
They've got some great new products. They've got the Scrambler 400s you can get into for a little less than you might think. It's a great price point bike, but still a Triumph.
So affordability is also part of the equation.
It is, and it looks good, and it rides good.
CyclesofJacksonville.com, or check them out on their Facebook page, the showroom ready and waiting for you on Atlantic near Regency at Cycles of Jacksonville.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
If you ask Mark Ross, if you ask a few of you on the text line, if you ask one Dylan Denmark, no to an NFL draft lottery. Don't care if they were to be able to perfect it, televise it, and be an interesting thing, an interesting concept, interesting thing to talk about. But in no way, shape, or form should we have an NFL draft lottery. Keep it the way that it is. If you still want to get in on that conversation, you can hit us up on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. 641-1010 is the number. That is going to do it in Cleveland, Indiana. Gentleman's sweep defeats the Cavs in 5. 114-105, your final. The number one seed in the Eastern Conference taken down. They looked like world beaters out east. Was probably looked at as the team that was best suited to defeat the Boston Celtics had they met in the Eastern Conference Finals. Cleveland now going fishing. We also presume that the Boston Celtics are going to go fishing as well with the injury to Jayson Tatum, although the 678 does say that it would bring him absolute joy to see the Knicks lose 3 straight games. That would be one heck of a choke job by the New York Knicks, and unfortunately, I just don't think they're going to give up 3 straight games as they have an opportunity to move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. So last night on the show, someone asked about LeBron James, or says that LeBron James, he comes back next season, and next season will be his last season because he's going to want to go and have his farewell tour. And honestly, I agree with that. And LeBron James, I do believe that he wants to be thanked for the time in which he had in the NBA and what he was able to do and how he was able to change the game in his own right. Certainly a generational talent, going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. In my opinion, he's the third greatest player of all time, right behind that of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. But as he makes this social media post saying, year 22, thank you so much, much appreciated, does make me wonder, does a guy like LeBron James decide that he wants to finish out his career as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers? Could he really be on the move again at age 41? Now, Rob Pelinka did say in the exit interviews that Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves are players that they're going to try to build around to make this a championship team. That is the core in which they are saying they're going to build around. Now you hear guys like Bill Simmons saying that Austin Reeves is going to be traded over the summer, and now you hear me here on 1010XL talking about whether or not LeBron James is going to be back with the Los Angeles Lakers next year. And he's already said he's going to take no pay cuts for anybody on the Los Angeles Lakers should he come back for year number 23. So I believe that this year is the year he has his player option. I'm going to assume he's going to opt out of that player option, try to construct a new deal, whether that is with LA or that is with some other team. But let's just say he says no to the Lakers. He says, clearly you guys are valuing Luka Doncic and the future more than you have me over the last few years. I'm going to leave. I'm going to test free agency. I'm going to talk to a few teams and make a new home elsewhere. I'm going to try to win one more championship. I think there are 4 teams in which he'll talk to or that he could be interested in my opinion. The first team, I believe, is the Golden State Warriors. I believe that there's a call made, there's a conversation had between he and the Golden State Warriors. Parts of me thinks he wants to play with Steph Curry. There's other parts of me that feel that the Warriors believe they're better suited to win now than the LA Lakers. Even with the Lakers having been a 3 seed this season, I think they're going to say, listen, we got Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry's going to come back. You and Draymond get along fine. Steve Kerr, great coach. We can put some pieces around that and give you an NBA championship team now. And hey, you don't have to leave California, right? I think San Francisco to LA back and forth, I think that's a 45-minute flight. Over the last few years, we've heard that there has been interest from the Golden State Warriors to acquire the services of one LeBron James because they want to put a winner around Stephen Curry. So if winning a championship means something to you, LeBron, and also we can sell you Silicon Valley. You don't necessarily now have to be in LA to continue making money, to continue doing business deals. So you're not in all that hustle and bustle of an LA or a New York City. And you're going to play with one of the individuals who's going to go down as one of the greatest shooters of all time. Why not try your hand at Golden State? That's team number 1 for me. Team number 2, I feel it would be LeBron giving the biggest FU to the Los Angeles Lakers. And that would be heading to the Dallas Mavericks. If you remember, after the Lakers got eliminated, he says, AD told you what we needed, and he was traded nearly a week after that interview. Now, I do believe LeBron James had some say in the Luka Doncic trade. How could a trade that monumental happen and LeBron James not be notified about that? I understand that it tries to come off as the LA Lakers are a team that hasn't let LeBron in on everything, but I feel like that would be something they'd let him in on because of the relationship he and Anthony Davis have. So the Lakers have their work cut out for them, trying to find a big man that can rebound, block shots, and rim run. They also need help on the wings. Look at a team like the Dallas Mavericks. Although a team that's going to be injury-riddled with guys like Anthony Davis. We don't know what's going to happen with Kyrie Irving. Klay Thompson is now another year older. But they got big men galore. They have an influx of big men. Heck, I mean, Daniel Gafford's probably going to be a guy they're going to have to trade here in the offseason because you have Derek Lively, Anthony Davis, P.J. Washington. And now you're also going to bring in Cooper Flagg. That's going to give you some wing help. I'm now in a state with no state income tax. And also, let's be honest, I would have loved to have seen that Dallas team healthy. I think they probably would have made the playoffs, and I don't know if there would have been any team in the Western Conference that would have liked to say we're going to face Dallas in a 7-game series. I think they're a tough out. Does LeBron James look at a roster like that and say, you know what, I think that's enough to win an NBA championship? I mean, heck, you're getting a top 15 player in the league still, even in his old age. Does he decide to do that and go to the Dallas Mavericks? Because you already have Nico Harrison saying that we feel Luka Doncic, he's not going to figure out his weight. He's never going to figure that out. And you already have J.J. Redick following their exit interviews with Rob Pelinka and the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers and J.J. Redick already saying we need to get in championship shape. Who do you think he was shouting out on that? Right? So Dallas, my second team. The third team is one win away from facing the Indiana Pacers in this year's Eastern Conference Finals, and that is the New York Knicks. Hear me out before you decide to turn the radio off or slam your TV. I think this would probably be more so for business. Yes, winning a ring would also be something that would interest LeBron in the New York Knicks, just like it did with Los Angeles. Magic Johnson was a guy that I think was convincing LeBron that not only will you be coming to a winner in the Los Angeles Lakers, but I'll teach you everything that I know about business. I'll put you in the room with the right people so that you can learn about the business after basketball. Now you go to the number one entertainment market in the entire country. Probably the number one entertainment market in the entire world. It's now Wall Street. It's the tycoons. You have all that money in front of you. And if you remember, when LeBron James and Dwayne Wade were trying to construct all this about where they were going to go, I think they said LeBron James' first choice was New York. He wanted to play with the Knicks. The only reason why I don't feel that would work out, you have a guy in Tom Thibodeau who does not believe in you sitting down, resting, getting 10 minutes of rest, 7 minutes of rest. And I don't think LeBron James at his old age anymore is going to want to be playing, 35, 38, 40 minutes a contest. I think he feels probably he could do just enough in 35 minutes each night to where the New York Knicks have what they need from him to get over the hump if they don't this year. And listen, if you're wanting to get in the Giannis Antetokounmpo sweepstakes, well, you're going to have to give up some talent. They're probably going to want OG Anunoby. They're probably going to want Mikal Bridges. I can opt out of my contract now, and you basically get me for a steep price. But now you have another piece in which you have for your championship aspirations. The last team is just, it's for the vibes. They just got eliminated in the Cleveland Cavaliers. It would be a coming home story. I started out in Cleveland. I'm finishing my career in Cleveland. But doing this back and forth, it's kind of gotten old. I think Cleveland has moved on quite well, in my opinion. I mean, heck, you made the second round of the NBA playoffs without one LeBron James. But do they feel that they need more? Do they look at this summer and say, we need another guy? And would LeBron James be willing to take a hometown discount? It would be a great story, in my opinion. But I also don't know how Dan Gilbert feels about him. And does Dan Gilbert say thanks, but no thanks, LeBron? Try that somewhere else. It'll be interesting to see. But in my opinion, I do believe that LeBron James is back with the LA Lakers next season. But for this exercise, if there were teams he were to talk to, those would be my 4. That's going to do it for us here on Open Gym. We have one more day where we'll fill in for Rick Ballou, and we encourage you to join us as we'll have a great show lined up for you. So for Dylan Denmark, I'm RJ Saunders. God bless, and may all your shots hit the bottom of the net. We'll talk.